Hey, folks, I am with a fantastic business leader, athlete, successful story here. I mean, we are talking to Samantha. How you doing today, Samantha Card?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. You're the best. I always have a
Oh
fun
man,
time
well,
with you.
I'll tell you what. The moment we chatted for the first time, I thought this young lady has something. Um, give us a quick story because I know you've been in the corporate room, you've been on the ball field. Give us a little bit of your background first.
Born and raised in Miami, Florida. Played sports since I was 4, competitive at 8. It's all I knew. It's all I loved. I really didn't have a peripheral outside of it because I started to figure out who I was while playing sports.
Mm,
That then became a whole journey towards understanding that I wanted to lean into sport all in. And I played a couple of different sports, but decided early on that softball was my pathway, right?
mm,
And, women's sports were never where kind of guy sports was, but I never really had that stop me. I just wanted to play ball, right?
mm.
And I went all in. I got the good grades and knew that, not everybody can make it, especially at the next level, whether it be competitive ball for club
Yes.
or go collegiately, because only
Mm,
5% make it. But I had my first milestone goal created at the wee ages of 10 years old, saying that I am going to play in college.
mm.
From that point on, everything I did was around achieving that goal. Once I got in and became one of the top 5% to go play in college, I even went one further and played Division 1, which is even harder to
Oh,
play.
wow. Wow.
And at that point, that was kind of my goal set. So then when I got in, I realized, well, maybe sports isn't going to be my forever game. I maybe didn't package that mentality that way because I wanted to go all in and win games and all of those kind of
Sure.
things. But I knew I had an opportunity to be able to get a really amazing degree at the University of Pittsburgh, research based institution. So why not leverage my sports vehicle? Now, I wasn't
Mm,
think about it like that at that time, but I definitely kind of immersed myself in 2 different environments. So I majored
yes.
in chemistry. So in the science world, I was the jock. And then in the athletic world, I was the nerd. And I was okay with it. So always kind of had identity, transitions back and
Yeah.
forth my whole entire life. And then, I looked left and right when I graduated in '09, and
Mm.
I really had a bleak resume
Wow.
and a full-blown identity crisis. It
Yes.
was intense, and I never had to deal with anxiety. I never really had, any big pressure on me besides, getting called up when it's a 3-2 count with bases loaded, and I knew what that pressure was, but in terms of, like, going pro in life, I
Yeah.
really never knew what the cliff dive was gonna feel like until I was faced with it when the economy had pulled back and they had taken softball out of the Olympics. So what next?
Oh,
Bleak
wow. Wow.
resume,
So,
all of those factors.
so that was
So
the
then
moment. What year was that?
that was in 2009, right after the 2008 collapse.
So they took off softball. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's now
Is it back then?
reinstated.
Okay. Wow. So
Yeah,
life kind of hit you and
hard.
it gave you this surprise and you had this quote identity crisis. Thanks for your honesty and authenticity. And by the way, I think a lot of people have that. You know,
Mhm,
I'm a soldier. I'm a CEO. I'm a whatever. And
mhm.
so now what happened then with that?
What I realized was for a good majority of my life, the way I
Mm,
was looking at it from a mindset perspective was sports was who I was, not
mm,
what I did. And then I
mm.
realized really quickly, sports is what I did, not who I am.
Wow.
And once that shift happened, I said, okay, well, either I'm going to survive or I'm going to thrive. And I'm going to thrive. And I made that very conscious decision and knew that I needed to create the habits and the little wins that will culminate into the big gains. So, what was my first
Mm,
little win? Ask for help.
I
As,
love
as
it.
as easy as it sounds, it's one of the hardest things for athletes, for high performance individuals, because that means you don't have it all figured out.
Ask
And
for help.
I
Oh, that's good. That's good. Tanisha's, here with us, and
Yeah.
folks, you're already getting gold here. So, step one is you are more than your identity.
Mhm,
of what you do. That's
mhm,
huge. I'm taking that away. Step 2 is the real breakthrough was you asked for help. And you're right. A lot of, you're reaching out to soldiers, you're reaching out to corporate people, you're reaching out to
mhm,
athletes. All 3 of those,
mhm.
you're not kind of supposed to ask for help. Do you agree?
100%, right? Because you can do hard things.
Mhm.
Compartmentalize. Put it to the back so you can perform at the front. So it's
Wow.
all we know. And as athletes, we lean into our experiential skills.
Yeah.
And when times get tough and you are tired, that's when you really learn who you are because now your mental memory, your subconscious comes
Mm.
out, whether you want it to or not. So,
Wow.
what I wanted to do was reframe what athleticism meant to me. And
Mm.
once I did that, I was able to be more than just an athlete. Until that point, I didn't understand that I could leverage a sports vehicle. I didn't realize who I was outside of sport. So when you put your ego to the side, because as athletes, you're confident, you've got the ego, you've got the limelight, you
Sure.
start to realize how humbling it is when you have a lot of time that you actually spent by yourself to get to the game.
Yeah.
And so many people, whether you're in corporate America, whether you're on the battlefield, whether you're in sports, there's a lot of alone time that
Mm.
really builds who you are from a character perspective, and we
Yeah.
put this facade out like, "I can do hard things. You can't, you can't put one up on me." But the humble sincerity in you asks for help, but you just don't know how to actually communicate it.
That's really interesting. I like what you said, the battlefield, and you've said it when we've chatted in the past, the boardroom.
Mhm,
So it's like, wow, okay. Um, Now though, I
mhm,
gotta show people this amazing book and cover and Amazon A+, plus, and you have it going on here. So, basically, the book, Prime, they can get it immediately, which is fantastic.
mhm.
But you scroll down here, and this is just beautiful. So, I love this. You basically say, "Look, it's for you," and then you kinda qualify 10 things. Tell us about those 10 things because that is perfect. It's like the reader almost says, "Oh, yep, that's me." But
Yep.
what are these? Talk through some of these.
We all transition in different parts of our life. It's not
Mm,
just an athlete consideration. And a lot of times we don't take that next step because we don't know what's next.
mm,
And a lot of us are risk averse and we don't like to fail because in failing means you don't have it all figured out.
mm.
And sometimes we have pressures to perform at very high levels and the competition is up there.
Yeah,
So for those that really don't know what's next, for those that don't understand how to connect the dots from your experiences and overcome the traditional way of thinking of what's on your resume, well, guess what? A resume only tells you where you've been, doesn't tell you where you're going,
oh, that's good.
right?
That's good.
So
Yeah,
in order to really hone in on, well, what do I stand for and why? And how can I leverage those different experiences to be more than equipped, capable, and prepared in the rooms that most people are just trying to figure it out.
yeah.
But
Well,
lean into the unknowingness of what's next and take your 8 seconds of feeling that, because if you don't feel it, what are you learning? And it's important to, not slow down, but to really absorb what you feel, because if not, you're just gonna pack it away, and then a lot of times we don't unpack it.
yeah. Listen, I love this number 6, um, because I'm friends with some of the Ohio State wrestlers,
Mhm,
and, I've had the chance to meet Kyle Snyder, and he's spoken at our events and stuff, and,
okay.
I mean, he's, like, one of the top wrestlers, and so, like, from a young kid,
Mhm,
you start thinking, like, that's who he is,
mhm,
and I've seen and you've seen this too, you almost see these, people in their 30s, their 40s, when they have to retire, and it's like they have no future,
mm,
and they're always talking about what they've done and where they've been,
mhm.
but they have like more than half their life left. So this is really a book for those people too,
Of course. Of course.
and soldiers,
Leaning in.
right? Yeah. So I love this. I want you to walk us through your website because I think your website's really powerful. And folks, this is literally successbeyondgameday.com. A book is one thing. You know, we teach that a book can be turned into 18 streams of impact. And you want to impact, you are impacting people beyond the book. The book is really what, maybe one of the first steps, and then what happens after the book.
The book is not about me.
Mm,
It's about the small pockets of opportunity where you can introspectively make it your own and
wow.
just leverage my shared experience. It's not about
Hmm.
me. But then what it does is it sparks being able to lean in and empower yourself beyond the game day, beyond battlefield, and any transitional period in your life,
Mm,
because it's not just about where you are today,
mm,
although it's a critical component to be present and intentional where you are. You need to have kind of a visionary view of what does 20 to 40 years look like, and then how do I create gateposts along the way?
oh, that's good.
That's the key. And like,
This
what are the habits and rituals that you need to be able to improvise when you need or further build from?
Wow. Well, and your book is so practical. So, folks, I want to really challenge everybody. If you're watching this, and I know we have this, the viewership's only one channel. Right now, we have this in your Facebook, my Facebook, your LinkedIn, my YouTube, your X. I mean, these things going out all over the place to many, many, many people. And I would love for people to tag an athlete, tag somebody that they played on a sports team with, or like you said, soldiers. Um, oh my gosh, I just saw a report recently that talked about how Navy SEALs, I mean, they're so tight. There's a clear mission. There's someone telling you what to do. There's objectives. And then you go into like, now I'm getting milk from the gas station,
Yeah.
and you don't know how to turn into success beyond the battlefield. So, talk to us about this slide. So, by the way, I really want people to tag soldiers, corporate people, athletes, but I've never seen this type of slide before. This could be true. Like, what is this? Can you walk us through this?
So a lot of times we try to move quick
Mm,
and we don't slow down to go fast.
that's good.
We want to be first to market. We want to be the first one in the door. We want to be the first, be the first, be the first. But I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for permanence,
Oh, that's good.
legacy, right? Fulfillment, contribution. So you can have power and success all day, but you can look left and right and be alone. Or you can focus on what can you contribute? What do you stand for? What are your values stand for? And how do you fulfill and contribute beyond yourself, which
Mm,
will be a legacy? So it all starts with that, deviation from power and success, which is what I was after in corporate America.
yeah.
I want to be a CEO, ambitious, first in, last out. But in order for me to go fast, I needed to slow down, right?
Mm,
And that's hard for athletes because we put the pedal down. It's hard for corporate athletes because if you're not first, you're last, right? In the battlefield, it's life and death, right? You don't get to think slow. So it's hard because we don't have the experiential skills that promote that as good.
mm,
Okay. So it starts with discovering who you are and what you stand for from the inside. A lot of times we live to overcome a stereotype or have a reputation. But if you know that's it, about an external perception of you,
sure.
you don't have control over that. Your values, you have control over,
Mm,
right?
mm,
And in
that
order
makes
for
sense.
someone to be able to meet you and empower you just as much as you can empower them within their best skill set, they need to understand what you stand for and why. So we need to spend the time to discover and unpack those pockets of areas where you kind of put it to the back because you didn't think you could make money in it, or, maybe it didn't go congruently with what your family has always put in front of you,
Yeah.
right? Or your community, right? So it really starts with what do you stand for and why, and
Okay.
really have a discovery period where then you can identify and connect and put some actions in place, right? To fail fast.
Interesting.
Then you establish and then you build and parallel path, right? Just like you said about multiple avenues for impact, it's the same
Yes.
concept here in terms of identity.
That's so good. That's so good. All right. So I'm on the page here. So this is basically the championship blueprint.
Mhm.
Then we move into this. Tell us about this.
So I think the biggest aspect is there's a lot of great education out there. There's a
Mhm.
lot of experts in different spaces, but education without application is useless. You have to be able
Ooh,
to
that's good.
apply the knowledge, right? The same thing in terms of communication. Most people say communication is the way to garner the best team results and relationships, whether it be personal or professional. I disagree. Comprehension is. Because if you talk but someone is not receiving and listening to someone's inner world and what they are trying to explain, then it really isn't going to get to the next level, right? And a lot of times we just put a band-aid and maybe we only understand a piece of it,
Okay.
right? So when you put all these pieces together, it's about practicing and creating an ecosystem to fail fast and understand where our biases are. So, as someone that has a science background, I believe that data has a place, but I also believe heart has a place. So, when you combine where does your mind and heart go, what are the tools that you can put in place to practice and fail often in an ecosystem where it's safe to then understand who you are and why, and then go to the world with it. So we've created a neuroscience and sports psychology mind lab practice that not only educates but applies the knowledge and helps implement through integration of practice,
Okay.
all done through text messaging. So it measures emotion in different capacities like grit, heart, storytelling, curiosity, and that really are critical components to how you can live from inside out.
Okay. Fantastic. And then I'm going to go now to this other one. And by the way, so are these things ready? Like people
Mhm.
can hit contact you today and then they'll get more?
Of course. So we've already launched our Mind Labs. And what's great about it, it's not just for athletes, right? So, not all athletes are the same too. You have 95% of high school athletes that don't go play in college. They have a place for transitionary mind mapping there, right? Then
Yeah.
when you're in college, we have a Mind Lab there. Also, that pro and Olympic level in terms of parallel path identity creation and go pro in life. The same thing when you transition in corporate America. So, how do you find your tribe? How do you reframe athleticism so you can have higher highs and higher lows from a share price perspective, but also
Yeah.
feel like you're seen, heard, and valued? So it's ready to go right now, and we've launched a whole host of them.
Perfect. Okay. So now let's go to some of this fearless leader. What's this about?
So, a lot of times we have, programs out there, but, who's really driving it? Like who are, what's the background of it? Yeah, we may be the critical components to bring it to life, but it's really a
Mhm.
community movement. And what's great about this is Ryan and I, as well as, Pat Lee, we've all played sports in
Wow.
college.
Yeah.
And we've all had different capacities. So Pat Lee won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers,
Oh my
right?
gosh.
And then
That's
retired.
that's my team. I
Ah,
mean,
go
that's
Pack,
where I'm
go.
from. Yeah,
Go
yeah,
Pack, go.
yeah.
And
Wow.
Ryan had injury, and that was really great. And he had one of the most successful financial practices, but he always was working with athletes after they lost their money.
Mm.
Right, and he's like, "Let's change that pathway." But what's cool about this program is athletes are empowering us to get into their high schools, to get into their colleges, and they're also gonna come and speak. So now they're a part of the process because it really is expanding to include, every university. It's not just a Power 5. It's not just for, Fortune 100 companies, and, it really is not only for active servicemen and women, but also vets. Like, you've had so much experience, and a lot of times you just don't know what that first step needs to look like, and you just need one door.
Okay. Perfect. All right, and then let's go to the final page here. The tell me more. What this is basically, they can click, uh, customized almost. Like you are up for interviews,
Yes.
sponsorship, bulk orders. There could be a team that
Mhm.
says, "Hey, listen, here's what I see, Samantha. I almost see sports teams being holistic and showing that they care for their athlete so that prior to them leaving the university, they set them up for success. Don't you think that's like good care?
Oh, 100%. And what's great about that aspect is a lot of times athletes, they want to say thank you and give back. They just don't have the mechanism and platform to do so.
Okay.
This provides that because a lot of times we're designing the experience for the fans and we're forgetting that the fans come to see the players on the field, right?
I love it. I love it.
So,
And I love it. That's so good.
yeah.
It's almost like, the medical, like a real good surgeon doesn't just do the surgery and be like, "Oh, hope you have a good life." They're really doing the physical therapy, the
Mhm.
recovery. And so I almost see, if we really cared for our soldiers, if we really cared for our athletes, we would get them to do success beyond game day
Mhm.
because they're only a soldier for a short time. They're only an athlete for a short time. Do you agree with this?
100%. And I'll go one further. I'll value ping pong you on that. So,
Mm,
what's really interesting, at my time in corporate America, a lot of times people were so afraid that they were the bottom 10%, or if they were the top 2%, they talked and walked different. But how cool would it be if we created an ecosystem aligned on values where the bottom 10% didn't feel like they were getting fired, but became distinguished alumni, and we helped place them into organizations that are a better fit?
mm,
How about
mm.
that, right? How
That's
about
good.
providing the tools for athletes in such a way that the transfer portal isn't the wild, wild west because they're not even considering it because
Oh, it's
they
like
are receiving, a lot of times like Deion Sanders, the reason why a lot of guys are going there is because he believes in the man.
he's almost like he almost becomes like a father figure, I mean, from what I've seen.
100%. He doesn't tell you why you're so great. He says, "Hey, what can we do to, like, sharpen the iron? Where are your
Mhm.
strengths so we can sharpen it? Where are those areas to improve?" Like, one of the top five-star recruits just had an interview about this and said, "I picked this university because he was the only one that, immediately highlighted the areas to improve."
Wow, so people you can almost see, they care beyond the field, like, from day one.
100%.
Yeah.
They just need to feel safe enough to lean into it, and there's, a lot of people who may say certain things, but in order to be effective with athletes, you need to be all in, and you need to be
Mhm.
rooted and bigger than yourself. And
So
because I
good.
have played Division I sports, because I've also done the corporate thing, because I have, gotten really vulnerable with, knowing that for a long time sports was just who I was, and now I realize that I'm more than just an athlete. It really, resonates with a lot of others.
So good. Folks, we got 1 more minute, but the book is Success Beyond Game Day. I love the subtitle. The Playbook to Leverage Your Grit, Will Your Way to Greatness, and Go Pro in Life. It's a beautiful book, beautiful young lady here, a fantastic leader. She's got incredible connections. I follow her on social. I see her meeting with athletes and speaking and doing trainings and folks, this is who you want, whether it's the boardroom, the battlefield, or the ball field. Ooh, there's three B's. Um, so, what would you like to say in closing, Samantha?
Thank you for just being a part of the community.
Mm,
And I challenge everybody to lean in whatever capacity, or share this with someone who may need that resource. Maybe today's not your day that you are dealing with a transition, but there's a lot of proactive work you could think about instead of being reactive. And also just share it. We're a community. It's not about me. It's about the community. We, not me. And all I ask is for you to take the first step in whatever you do.
That's so good. Folks, go to the website. And so the main website, again, we'll post it right here, but it's successbeyondgameday.com. Samantha's the one you want to speak, you want to train, you want to create these, what you call mind labs.
Mhm.
Yeah, she is the one. And so, thank you, Samantha, for your gift to the world. I can tell you're very good at speaking, very eloquent today, and I just hope people, take action. Um, just like an athlete, you can't learn theory; you need to put it into practice. And so, thanks for sharing your story today, Samantha.
No, thanks for having me. It's always an opportunity to be able to share space with you. So thank you.
Awesome. Take action, folks. We'll see ya.